I'm Nathan Lunney. I'm a member of the Newmarket School Board. Mike Kenisen is with me today, and we're going to share some information with you in support of the warrant articles that are on the school district ballot for this year's 2016 annual school district meeting. We have a number of articles on the ballot this year for the school district. Article 1 is really the election of officers. There are 5 positions, and we have candidates for those positions. Chris Hawkins is again running for moderator, Penny Boderman for school district clerk, and Annette Brousseau for school district treasurer. And there are 2 board seats open for 3-year terms. And the candidates this year are Elizabeth McKinney and Kimberly Shelton, both of whom are on the board currently. That's Article 1. Article 2 is the district operating budget for fiscal year 2016-17. The proposed budget is $16,847,926, and that is $82,000 less than the current year budget, and it represents a decrease of 0.5%, 0.5% decrease over the current year. This year, it's important for folks to know that a yes vote will cost you less than a no vote on the operating budget, because the default budget, or the fallback budget, is actually $47,000 higher than the proposed budget, at a dollar amount of $16,895,184. Quick notes included in the proposed budget are an increase from part-time to full-time for a music teacher at the junior high school. Health insurance premiums are increasing at a little over 10% in this budget, and we have added an additional $50,000 related to establishing a facilities director position, which may be a payroll position, it may be a contracted service, but it will be someone with the expertise to assist us with facilities. There are no teacher raises included in this budget. Any compensation changes for teachers are included in the next separate article, Article 3. Article 3 is the negotiated collective bargaining agreement with the Newmarket Teachers Association. It's a 3-year agreement from July of 2016 to June of 2019, which is good, we believe, because that'll allow our new superintendent 2 years working under this agreement before having to renegotiate another one. There was cleanup of some language, but the biggest issues going into the negotiations were salaries and dealing with the Affordable Care Act. With regard to salaries, it was noted in our negotiations that our Newmarket teachers rank 124th out of 159 school districts in the state in terms of their starting salaries. Our starting salaries are not competitive with many, many districts in the region. So that case was made, and it was important to the negotiating team for the school board that we try to address salaries, but also address issues of Affordable Care Act. Please know that under the Affordable Care Act, there will be excise taxes paid on high-cost health plans in the future. Current plans of the school district would be categorized as high-cost plans, so this was an important issue for us. The negotiating team of the board secured language that protects the taxpayers in the district from paying any taxes under that law. If in the future teachers choose to retain high-cost plans, they'll have to pay the impact of the so-called Cadillac tax or whatever that might turn into. Additionally, there will be a committee with equal representation between the association and the district that will explore alternative plans and make recommendations to avoid excise taxes and generate savings in the future. In order to secure that, salary increases were agreed to. In the first year, the salary increase is 2%, and in second and third years, respectively, 2.8%. Those total costs that you'll see on the ballot, $249,259 in the first year, and estimates of a little over $292,000 and $296,000 in years 2 and 3. That's Article 3. Article 4 is specifically designed to allow the school board to renegotiate with the collective bargaining of the teachers and try again if the preceding Article 3 teacher contract fails to pass. The language of Article 4 is statutory, and it very specifically allows that the board could call a special meeting to seek passage of a revised agreement with the teachers only. And that would only be the case if Article 3 fails to pass. That's Article 4. So let me ask Mike Kenisen to pick up from there and keep going with the articles.
Okay, I'm going to cover Articles 5 through 8. Articles 5 and 6 have to do with some land issues near the elementary school. Okay, Article 5 is a land swap article, and what we have up here is a bird's eye view of the elementary school. You see it labeled there. This little part here in the diagram is land that the school currently owns. It's along Durrell Drive, and it's mostly swampland. It's non-usable land. This land that's depicted in this land exchange here, this rectangle, is land that's currently owned by the Durrell Woods Homeowners Association. The simple idea here is to exchange this piece of land, the swampland, for this rectangle. And there's no tax impact to that. This land highlighted here that's colored is assessed at no value. So no land is going to be coming off the tax rolls. We're not going to pay anything. It's just a land swap. And the purpose of that is that behind the elementary school, there's an access road that runs right along the back of it and then hooks up with the exit over here. What having this land would allow us to do potentially is to expand or move back that access road back a little bit if we needed to. This land, however, is covered mostly with ledge, so it may not be fully developable, may not be economical to take out all that ledge. That's Article 5. That was unanimously approved by the school board and by the budget committee. Both approved that. Next, we're on to Article 6. Article 6 involves this piece of land that we've called the McGrath property. Was once, it's owned by the estate of Sophie McGrath, and that runs along the northerly border of the elementary school, and this would be a land purchase. The school entered into a purchase and sale agreement for this land. It's obviously contingent upon the warrant article being approved, but that land went up for sale last fall, and it hasn't gone up for sale since 1923. And so we have an opportunity to really buy a piece of land that could help us with some of our issues. Currently, both parents and buses drop off kids in front of the school, and faculty come in at the same time. It's crowded. It's not ideal. Our architect has suggested that a better plan would be to have a bus drop off out back with a road going out through the McGrath property and onto 152. And that's what this land over here would allow us to do. It would also allow us to bring the playground into the school and make it bigger. And in that way, we wouldn't have an access road running through the playground, which obviously isn't ideal either. And it would also allow potentially additional parking spots. So there's a lot of reasons why both our architect and our educational consultant, Dr. Joyce, have recommended that the district acquire that. Just a few facts about that property. A little over 2 acres. As I mentioned, it has about 120 feet of frontage on 152, which is very important. There's really no other property like that near the elementary school. In terms of the price is a little under $170,000 total purchase price, but the way that would be paid, and you can read this in the warrant article, $71,400 would come from the expansion of school facilities and capital reserve fund that was established back in 1962 for these very purposes. The other part would be raised by taxes, and that amount would be $98,210, which would result in a 14-cent per thousand one-time charge on taxes. And if you do out the math, for a $250,000 home, that would be a one-time charge of $35 for this McGrath property. So we have a purchase and sale on it. We have 90 days to do our due diligence to check for any environmental issues, if any that exist, to do further inspections of the property to make sure it's the right thing for the school to buy. So that's Article 6. That was unanimously approved by the school board, 5-0. The budget committee, 9 approved, 2 abstained. There were no objections in that vote. The next article is Article 7, and it involves the dissolving a fund that has a little over $3,000 in it. And the purpose of that, it'll relate to Article 8, which I'll get to in just a moment. The fund is called Construction of a New School Building and Renovation of Existing School Building for Fire and Life Safety Code Compliance Capital Reserve Fund. The fire and life safety issues have already been addressed, and that's really what this fund was about. It's also called the Dual Purpose Fund. You may have heard that term before. As I mentioned, it has a little over $3,000 in it. That money would be returned to the general fund, and this fund would go away. Again, that was unanimously approved by the school board and also by the budget committee. The next article is Article 8, and it's the final article. This article involves establishing a new fund for architect, engineering, and cost estimation fees for the process we're in right now, vetting a long-term solution for all school facilities in the town. And as many of you may already know, we've already retained an architect. This fund would allow us to continue with that architect, continue with necessary engineering studies, so we can come up with a long-term solution to be presented next March after public input and vetting through the public, through the summer and throughout the fall. This fund would be established. It would have no tax impact. It would be established from any surplus that we have on the 2015 budget. And the amount in the warrant articles for up to $150,000 to be spent, with the oversight of the school board. It doesn't mean that that whole amount will be spent. It just means that it would authorize the school board to spend up to that amount. That money's critically important to this process. The architect whose work is already underway will likely work through the summer to come up with schematic designs to show the public that certain possibilities with both school buildings. We'll also likely need engineers involved to look at the structure, but also to look at civil engineering needs. And perhaps most importantly, to get a good idea of the cost, we'll need to retain a cost estimator once we narrow it down to the recommended approach, we'll need to know how much it's going to cost. And that's what this warrant article is about. That also approved unanimously in both the school board and at the budget committee.
So those are the 8 articles that you'll face on the school district warrant here. It's important to remind everyone voting day is Tuesday, March 8th. Voting will be here at the town hall. We'll be in the auditorium in the basement. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. As we recap on those 8 articles, it's important to note that the school board was unanimous in its support of all of the articles. The budget committee was in support of the articles. Mike noted specifically the abstentions on one of those. If you consider the budget going down this year, the teacher warrant article holding teacher raises, and the land purchase, the total tax impact of a yes vote across the ballot is right about 51 cents a thousand. For every $100,000 of assessed property value, that's about $50 a year of new money. If you have questions regarding these articles, you can certainly reach out to the SAU office, the school district office. It's here in the town hall. You can find phone numbers and other information available on the website. It's newmarket.k12.nh.us. And we hope that folks will come out and be supportive on voting day, March 8th. Anything I've missed that we should talk about?
No, if the public also wants to see the deliberative session, there were several good questions from the public as well. You can go to the SAU's website and go to channel 13. That meeting's recorded on there. And also, you can call us with any questions. Call the SAU, and we will have our regular meetings, so you can look for the schedule of those as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.